Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and yeah, another SAS haul. Wow, so much 75% off stuff that I just couldn't even believe it. It was like walking into the Twilight Zone. It was so crazy. But yeah, so what happened was, I was like, you know what, it's SAS time, and what better excuse to like go driving around to other towns and cities that you've never been before. And so I located a town about 1 hour away from me. And I've never been to it, and it said there were 2 Bath and Body Works stores there, and I was just like, wow, like I just didn't think that this town would have 2 separate Bath and Body Works stores, so I was a little skeptical. I made the decision to, of course, go to that town, and these are the finds from all of that. So pretty much just a whole lot of 75% off candles, and other knickknacks that I'll talk about in this video. So yeah, this was yesterday. And so I drive up to the first like strip mall type of like outdoor mall area, and it's rather kind of beat. It's kind of like an old looking strip mall, and it's just not like an outdoor plaza or strip mall that you would expect a Bath and Body Works to be in. And so Apple Maps originally took me to like the wrong part of the plaza, and I was like, I knew it. There's no way there's a Bath and Body Works in this like whack ass strip mall. And then so I like go a little bit further, and I'm like, you know what, let me like completely exhaust the strip mall to make sure that there's actually a Bath and Body Works store. And you know, there's like Ollie's Bargain Outlet, you know, which is like very much a discount store, and other like, you know, rando stores that you find in like a little bit more of like a less fancy strip mall. And lo and behold, there's a Bath and Body Works there, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And when you walk in, it's just like a totally brand new, beautiful Bath and Body Works store, like totally modern, has like the white barn like component or the room in it as well. And there was that, and I was like, I guess there is a Bath and Body Works store here. So I go in, and I see like maybe a single luminous candle on the 75% off table in the front, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like if this is the only 75% off candle, I guess I'll pick it up. And then I make my way back to the back of the store, and there's like an entire table of 75% off candles, front and back, and they're like all the Candle Day releases. It's almost like they didn't have Candle Day, but I asked the sales associate, I was like, you know, is it a new store, or like, did you guys have a Candle Day this past December? She's like, yeah, we had Candle Day, but we're just drowning in candles, so we have so many 75% off candles. It was absolutely nuts. Like it was like, you know, like the Perfect Spring was still there, like the entire like run of these. So like Crushed Candy Cane, the Perfect Christmas, Fresh Balsam, Tree Farm, like all of that was still in abundance, as if it was like frozen in time from Candle Day. There were like, you know, Candy Emporium, Top Shelf Elf. They even had like the frosted cranberry and the fresh balsam in that like sort of plaid ribbon label that we've had as well. What else did they have? They had Mount Antiqua still, like frozen flurries or whatever that's called, falling flurries, mahogany balsam, frosted cranberry still. I mean, let me see. I think I took a photo of all the candles they had. It was just absolutely nuts. Let's see, what else did they have? Oh, the entire like Winter Pear Forest collection with Birchwood Orchard, Spice Citrus Grove, Cocoa Roasted Chestnuts was still there. They had like the collection that was like the Vanilla Balsam for the Candle Day. That was that cute like retro wrapping paper collection. Heaps of Pure Wonder, Luminous, all of the Golden Berry Mistletoe, Vanilla Bean Noel, and Winter Candy Apple collection. They had the entire collection of like the Sugar Pomegranate, the Vanilla Birch, and the Spice Apple Toddy. Let's see, what is this? Bright Christmas Morning Twisted Peppermint was still there. I mean, Raspberry Thumbprint was still there as well. They had like the white tea and sage and the fresh cut lilacs from the Candle Day packaging. I mean, it was just insanity. They had like Dahlia on the backside. They still have peppermint hot chocolate. Fireside Snowy Coconut Frost. What is this? Christmas Cider Tree Farm. Cranberry Pear Bellini. I mean, just nuts. Woodlands, yeah, it was like the majority of the Candle Day releases still there, but for 75% off. So there was all that. And then I was like, you know what? If this store has this much 75% off candle, they must have my beloved book loft that I'm looking for, which was #1 on my list after or before Greenhouse Fern, which I already found earlier in my previous haul. And so I moved on over to all the like the spring releases. They literally had like almost every single candle from like January, February time frame to now, like every floor set. It was just like every single candle. So like Book Loft was still there in abundance. Sweet Red Mango, Amethyst Dreams, Fresh Amalfi Lemon, what is it? Spring Clothesline, Fresh Sheets. Like those have like sold out in other stores like so early. They had all of those. They had all the tropical candles like the Waikiki Beach Coconut and the Beach Weather and the Warm Ocean Breeze Sunset and Maui. Like I mean literally as if the floor set had just happened that day for all of those. They still had abundance of greenhouse fern, lavender vetiver, blue orchard skies, whatever else that collection had in it, all of the greenhouse stuff, you know, backyard honeysuckle, like the paneled Springtime in Paris Flower Child collection. What else was going on in there? They still had Daffodil Daydreams, believe it or not. I was like, what? They still had Daffodil Daydreams there as well, like with the whole Easter collection. I mean, it was crazy. So I'm like, wow, if I need to look for an old past season candle, this is the store to go to from now on. So that was crazy. So that was the first store. So let me haul the first stuff and then we'll talk about the second store. So the first store, they still had Palo Santo and Endless Weekend. I would have maybe grabbed a vanilla coconut surf if they had it, but they did not. So we have that right there. This was like a candle day replenishment into December into January, and they're still hanging around at that store. Palo Santo Wood, Warm Amber, and Soft Musk. I've actually already burned this one last night, and that's what that is. I mainly got this because I've never owned Palo Santo on its own, and it's been out for many years, and I was just like, I don't know, I've never been inspired to pick it up, and I picked up Palo Santo Vanilla the first year it came out, and when I was burning this, I was like, okay, I feel like I've smelled this before, and I guess it's because I've had Palo Santo Vanilla, which is just a slightly sweeter, creamier version of Palo Santo, but very, very similar. As someone who's not like head over heels into Palo Santo, I was like, okay, I don't think I actually need both the vanilla and this one, but I've already burned it, so whatever, I'll keep it. I kind of got it because Sarita on Coffee and Candles, friggin' love her, check out her channel if you haven't already, Coffee and Candles here on YouTube. Love her channel. She always raves about Palo Santo and how much she loves Palo Santo and Sage and how she wants a Palo Santo pumpkin and a Palo Santo coconut. And I was like, you know what? If she loves it so much, I've never actually owned a standalone Palo Santo. Let me just try it and see how it goes. And my thoughts are still largely the same about it. Like, it's not bad, but it's just like this sort of warm, cozy, woodsy fragrance that smells a little bit like sophisticated, I guess. But it's just kind of there. And because I've already had Palo Santo Vanilla, it seems a little bit redundant, to be honest. And I hear that the throw on OG Palo Santo is just super diminished these days. So I was just kind of like, it's like another one of those like wind down scents that I'll maybe put in my bedroom, like, you know, during the night hours and do that. So that's what that was right there. I kind of want to blend this with a coconut fragrance to try to experience the Palo Santo coconut that Sarita keeps talking about that she would want. So we'll see what happens, but that was that right there. Okay, moving on. I mean, I showed super self-restraint. I mean, I could have just gone crazy with so many candles. Like, I could have bought another Luminous if I wanted to. Like, would I probably burn a Raspberry Thumbprint sometime in the future? Possibly, but I was just like, you know what? I have so many candles. Let me just, like, hone in on candles that I've never actually owned before or that I wanted to, like, try. And so I've actually had this candle before. The original packaging of Cedar and Suede, I did have this one, and I liked the fragrance, but it was really, really, really low on the throw. It was in that, like, fancy glass lid collection. It came out the first year and I burned it and I think I reviewed it and it was just like really, really unscented. But I love the sage green packaging of this from last year that I was like, we're 75% off, everything smells and looks better. So I was like, you know what, let me get Cedar and Suede in this packaging and see how it does. Let's see, soft cedar, warm incense, and velvety suede. Yeah, it's kind of like this, I don't know, for me, it still smells like a sweet cinnamon pumpkin type of almost like craft store fragrance. It's a little bit more subdued and a little bit more like, I guess, velvety smoky quality to it. And I like that, but it was just very light. So I have no idea how this version performs, but for 75% off, yeah, why not? So Cedar and Suede right there. And those were the two 75% off candles. I mean, I could have gone ham, but I was like, no. So, yeah. And then I was like, okay, let me just like take this opportunity to get 2 Book Loft and call it a day. Since this was like the one store I could find in my area. And so here we are, we have finally 2 Book Loft. So the story with this one, I've talked about it in my previous videos. Oh my God, it's so nice to be reunited. Yeah. I had originally burned it and reviewed it, and the first half of it was super light and like unsatisfactory, like nearly unscented, and I was just like, ugh, I don't like this. But I had already burned it too much to be able to exchange it or return it at the store, so I like continued to burn it as a hate burn. And I do have to say, I have to give credits to Sarita here on YouTube, Coffee and Candles, for I think using the hate burn terminology. I did not invent that, but she like perfectly articulated like the concept of a hate burn, which is like you have this candle, you've already bought it, it's too late to return or you feel bad for returning it, so it's in your collection, you just want to get rid of it because you just want to be done with it out of your collection. That's pretty much like what hate burn is, and like she's perfectly articulated that like phrase. So I do have to give credit for her. But in any case, I was indeed hate burning book loft. I was like, you know what, I just want this out of my collection. It's just like collecting dust and it's like totally unscented. But then the more I burned it, like the second half of it got much stronger and nicer, and it was just like really cozy and awesome and lovely that I really enjoyed it. What were the actual, so when I reviewed it, it was the fake notes on the bottom of the label, but what were the actual real notes of this candle when they actually published it online? Let us see. So these were both $10.95 for the $10.95 sale price that was going on yesterday. Crisp bergamot, neroli, and cozy woods is the actual notes. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I was saying there's like a white powdery floral with like a sort of nuzzly woodsiness, and you get that, and I guess the bergamot gives it this slightly like sort of manly brightness that's like almost cologne, but not quite. But the mix of it all together, I really, really enjoyed it. It was just really this like cozy, nuzzly, almost like one of those like a sophisticated blanket fragrance without it going too heavy in that like powdery, overly fabric softener feel that you get, you know? And so I really enjoyed it, and it was just a nice like woodsy floral fragrance to burn like during the nighttime when I was winding down. And so I was like, for $10.95, let me just get two and be done with it. So that was that. I don't know if this will come back or not, so that was that. And so that was the first store. And then I was like, okay, well, there's still a second store to be going to. And so I go to it, and it's like the most like rundown, desolate mall you've ever seen in your life. It's not even that big of a mall. It's like one of those like one aisle indoor malls or like one row indoor malls where it's like one anchor on one side and another anchor on the other side. And there's like not a cross in between, you know, and there was not even a food court there. I would say probably 75 to 80% of the stores were all empty and closed down and shut down. The mall didn't even have a food court. I mean, it was just crazy. You pull up into the parking lot, and it's just like the parking lot's all like not properly paved and just like totally desolate looking. And I'm just like, whoa. But it's usually these malls that have like the treasure chest jackpot stuff that you're looking for. And I was like, well, the first store had a ton of 75% off, so like, is the other one going to be wiped out, or are they also going to have an equal amount of 75% off candles? And boy, that store also had a ton of 75% off candles. It was crazy. And so that store, oh my god, wow, it was like another one of those old style, old school, like Heartland era stores. It was a really beat store, but I mean, they have the goods, so you can't really complain about it. And it's like, you know, the one like store that's still open in the mall. It was just, yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, I went in there, and more 75% off candles to be had. I mean, it was craziness. Okay, so what did that store have? A lot of pretty much the same stuff that I said in the first store. They had the perfect winner. They still had heaps of pistachio and toasted vanilla, which I was real tempted, but I still have like 2 in my stash that I was like, I don't need that. But like pistachio and toasted vanilla for 75% off. They still have patchouli rosewood from the Sedona Sandstone release. They had a peppermint sugar cookie. Bali Rainforest was still there. They had like the black tie, the raspberry mimosa, and the peach Bellini from like that like sort of glass cut collection from Candle Day as well. Heaps of fresh balsam, just craziness. So much stuff still at that store. And then the back side of that table was all 75% off hand soaps. So they had a lot. They also still had a Mother's Day tote, the Brightest Bloom one, and so that was marked 75% off. So like the retail price on it is $132 or something like that. And then after 75% off, it comes down to like $35 or something, and then you can get the like wallflower plug, the wallflower, the ritual, plus the candle and the tote. But I was like, I don't need all that even for $30, so I did not take that. But what I did grab was Alone 75% off candle, and that was the Oceanside Palm right here, and that's what that looks like. This is another one of those like Trailblazer collections, right? Palm leaf, gardenia blooms, and ocean driftwood. I hauled this initially when it first came out, but then I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna like use or burn this because it's so similar to regular white gardenia, rainforest gardenia, seaside gardenia. And so I was like, well, for 75% off, yeah, let's throw it in the bag and see how it does. So that was that right there. I remember, even in this time, thinking that this was still too many words, but this, in contrast to like the paragraph labels of this, wow, what an improvement. Yeah, it just looks so much nicer without all the text on it. But any case, yeah, so yeah, it just smells like rainforest gardenia, white gardenia, mixed with like maybe even a little bit more of like a greenness that's coming from, I guess, the Driftwood. I don't know if this is the repackage of the White Gardenia Ocean Driftwood like blend candle. I never actually picked that one up or owned it, so I can't really speak to that. But I don't know, it smells like a variation of White Gardenia. For 75% off, whatever, throw it in the bag and call it a day. So we did that. They still have Better Glow there as well. And then that store didn't have quite as much of the spring collection that the first store had, but they still had one of my favorite like pocket bag fragrances this season, which was Crystal Blue Coast. And I hadn't seen this in a hot minute. And this is Breezy Palm Trees Fresh Apple and Sunny Amber. I love the pocket bag. Like, I'm almost done with it, and I was like, ooh, I would love to have the hand soap, and it was $3.25. It's like just the perfect, like, sort of like almost like a clean linen meets sweet fruit hand soap fragrance. It's just like the perfect, like, clean fragrance for a hand soap without it being like overly generic. So I appreciate that, and I'm using that currently in my kitchen. So I like that. And then, oh my God, I freaking love Water Lily Springs and Sea Salt Coast. I bought it in the shower gels a few months ago, and you haven't seen it anywhere else. Of course, this store still had like the shower gels and the whole ritual for 75% off in the bins. And I was like, well, let me go over to the wallflower section and see if they have anything good. And I haven't seen this wallflower in such a long time, but this store, of course, had it, and I friggin' love this fragrance. So Sea Salt Coast and Wallflower, I just picked it up because I really enjoy the fragrance. Salty Air, Water Lotus, and Sandalwood Shores. Yeah, it's kind of like this sort of clean, almost like citrusy, like breeze type of fragrance to it. Yeah, it smells great. I love it. So Sea Salt Coast right there. And so that was that. And I think that was it from the two crazy 75% off jackpot stores. I mean, I could have gone crazy, but I think I'm happy with what I found. And the fact that I found Book Loft and was able to get 2 of them, I'm like, okay, mission accomplished. Like, that was totally worth the drive and everything there. On a unrelated trip from maybe the day or two before that, I was in town for some other reason, and I was like, well, there's a Bath & Body Works here literally next to the store I was supposed to go to, so let me see what they have. And this is another one of those where, you know, I kind of changed my mind on it. I'm allowed to do that, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch my channel. And that's My Sweet Sisters right here. Freaking love this after all. So this was another hate burn. I was saying I'm like so over these like weird perfumey chocolate fragrances. We had a Cocoa Roasted Chestnuts, and now we had My Sweet Sisters. And like, you know, it is kind of a bait and switch when they advertise something that's supposed to be fully gourmand. It's just sugared cinnamon toasted hazelnut and cake batter. And you smell it, and there's like a perfumey prettiness to it, and it's just like, what? But then, when you like get over your initial like expectation of the fact that it's supposed to be fully gourmand and appreciate it for what it is, it's like, okay, I actually kind of like this. It's like a pretty chocolate fragrance, and so I was hate burning this one too, because I had already burned it for the review, and it was too late to exchange or whatever. Let me just finish it, hate burn, and call it a day, and that was cool. And then, of course, by the end of the candle, my mind has switched, and I was like, okay, I actually kind of really like this one. And so I was like, you know what, maybe if I find this during SAS, I will entertain it. And I did find it in my like first you know, journeys last week or the opening weekend, whatever it was. But I still didn't pick it up. And this time around, I was like, you know what? They're $10.95 or whatever. Again, let me just lock it in and be done with it. I already burned it, and it was great. Freaking loved it. So I actually really grown to enjoy this one. So My Sweet Sisters right there. So happy to have that in the collection. Again, that and Book Loft, I think, were the two like mind changers where I was at first kind of just like whatever about it. And the more I burned it, the more I enjoyed it. So that was that right there. And yeah, so that was the haul action. I think that's it for the haulage. Wow, what a jackpot, those two stores. I mean, I wish they had maybe a little bit more fall stuff, because Christmas or winter season is truly my least favorite candle season, but you know, I can't complain. For 75% off, I'll try them out. So that was that. And then I want to dedicate the rest of this video with just a quick rundown, review, follow-up of the made for SAS bought for sale candles, because I was doing an Instagram live last night and people were asking a lot of questions about if I burned them or not. Sometimes just get sick of doing candle reviews, you know, and then I do change my mind, so then, you know, there's all that. So I was just like, I don't care for reviewing candles individually too much, especially when you're like busy and you have other stuff going around. Like, you have to like set up the camera, put it on the thing, angle it, and then people still complain about it. So it's like, why do I do this? But any case, we'll just run it all down right now and call it a day. I haven't burned these for more than maybe like 2 burns each, so I can't give a full in-depth review on it, so just take it with a grain of salt. Let's see. Oh my god, people kept asking about this one. Whipped coconut milkshake right here. That's what that looks like. These labels have really grown on me. I burned this one twice, and that's what that looks like. This one says vanilla ice cream, toasted coconut, and sugared amber. Yeah, it's just kind of light when you go to burn it. It's not very strong, which is kind of unfortunate. And what you do get of it is like this nice, like sort of like toasted coconut gourmandy action, but then it's infused with like this indescribable, like plasticky, synthetic body care component that wasn't great. And then when you go to burn it, it's just really light that I can't really, certainly not gonna buy another one, and I can't really recommend it. So, whipped coconut milkshake right there. Let's see, my beloved BWC. I did burn this one already just to see how it does. It has like yellow wax and the flat curling wicks on it. And this did great. Sweet summer berries, golden waffle cone, and creamy vanilla. One of my favorite fragrances. This one still smells like every other version. It's great, it's crusty, it's buttery. It kind of smells like you have like a baked waffle cone or a pie baked in the oven with like a little bit of like a warm berry undertone to it and a little bit of that sort of cinnamon sugar crumble topping vibe to it. Smells strong, beautiful, love it. Excellent, as always, berry waffle cone. Okay, the blends. The surprise hit. This was so weird on cold, but I actually really enjoyed it when I was burning it. Ocean and vanilla bean. This was blue cypress, coastal air, Madagascar vanilla bean, warm cinnamon, and nutmeg. Yeah, I burned it once. It got a little like schmutzy, but it's actually kind of nice. It's like this warm, sweet, almost like cologne fragrance to it. There is a slight reminiscence to your rainbow cereal, rainbow confetti, key lime pie type of fragrances in the sense that you get that sort of like the ooey gooey marshmallow sweet creaminess that you would get from those candles mixed with like a citrus zing to it. But the Ocean on this has like a slight like shaving cream men's cologne vibe to it mixed with like this powdery marshmallow vanilla fragrance. And it's nice. It's like this sweet men's cologne fragrance that has like a heavy emphasis on a vanilla bean marshmallow note. That's actually quite beautiful. I have to say, this one actually was much better burning. So that was Ocean and vanilla bean right there. Ugh. In the Stars and Honeycrisp Apple was my least favorite for sure. Ugh. Starflower, Sandalwood Musk, Golden Honeycrisp, and Apple Blossom. Burned it once, I think, and I didn't care for it. It just smells like spicy, like red chewing gum. Ugh. I don't know. That's all I want to spend energy on talking about this candle. That was that right there. It's not for me. If it's for you, I love it for you. But for me, I just didn't care about it. Okay. This one I haven't burned yet because I had burned my mother's and it was super light. Love the fragrance on cold, but it's just super weak, at least when you go to burn it. We burned my mother's one twice. I haven't burned my own one, but Plumeria and Sugar Lemon Zest are right there. Gorgeous, gorgeous Plumeria fragrance with like a bright, sunny, zesty lemon. Nice. Love it on cold, but it was really light burning. So there was that. And then lastly, from the blends, we had Hello Beautiful plus Black Cherry Merlot right there. And that's what that looks like. White Gardenia, Magnolia Blossom, Wild Black Cherries, and Velvety Red Wine. I burned this one once. It wasn't very strong, but it smelled exactly as you would imagine. Literally smells like a soapy, floral, Hello Beautiful fragrance mixed with Black Cherry Merlot. Can't say I loved it or that I like was clamoring for it, but this was also not very strong in this open concept area. So yeah, that was that right there. Lastly, we have the Bought for Sale collection, the two new ones. We have Velvet Amber Woods right here. I burned this one twice. I actually kind of dug this one, yeah. Fine Saffron, Lavish Jasmine, and Bright Amber. I think Sarita on Coffee and Candles was saying this is pretty much a repackage of First Sight, which is a repackage of like, or a dupe, inspired dupe of Baccarat Rouge 540, which is not my favorite fine fragrance by any means, but it exists and it's out there. And she was saying this is pretty much like First Sight. First Sight sold out so fast in my region, and so I can't really ever smell it in store, and I never bought it, so I don't really have too much of a recall on that one. But I could see it being similar because I remember smelling First Sight and being like, this is like a slightly different version of In the Stars. And so I have In the Stars in my collection, and this is not In the Stars in my opinion. But I could see it being closer to First Sight. So if you like Baccarat Rouge 540, it got very much lost in this open concept area, but it was like detectable in my bedroom. So I kind of burned it there, and it was another nice like sort of nighttime sensual fragrance. So it exists, so that was that. Don't need another one, but I'll enjoy the one that's here. And lastly, Toasted Cinnamon Sugar. That's what that looks like. I burned this one like 2 or 3 times, I think, at this point. Kind of has a schmutzy burn like pumpkin cinnamon bun does. warm cinnamon, brown sugar crumble, and sweet glaze. Very, very, very similar to pumpkin cinnamon bun. Kind of seems redundant. I feel like maybe it's a little less strong than pumpkin cinnamon bun, but it has a similar, like almost like toasty, burnt toast type of like bun. No, you know, like something's kind of like toasting or baking in the oven, mixed with the usual like sweet cinnamon glaze that you'll get on top of the pumpkin cinnamon bun candle as well. Yeah, very much in line with that. If it's a 100% repackaged, I don't know, but it's really close. If you're looking for pumpkin cinnamon bun and can't wait until it comes out in the fall time, if it does, then check out Toasted Cinnamon Sugar. It's truly the next best thing. So yeah, I feel like it was just lighter than pumpkin cinnamon bun, so I wasn't happy about that. And yeah, I think that is it. Gingham Glow, which is another flanker for Gingham, is previewing in stores, and one of the stores had it out already, and I used the mist, and it was actually really, really nice. I loved it. And it's supposed to come out with a 3-wick candle, so I'm really jazzed about that. I will snatch that up in a heartbeat. It smelled beautiful. If you like the marigold and cane sugar fragrance or the golden sunflower fragrance as well in body care, it's very much that. It's that type of almost like orange blossom. Even think of like in the sun, but not quite as harshly like sunscreen as that. But that type of like solar floral that's in that sort of magnolia, sunflower, orange blossom realm that they tend to put together. It's like a warmer, creamier, sweeter, that type of white floral, solar floral, that's in line once again with marigold and cane sugar or the golden sunflower. I think it has like marigold and some other notes in it, but it was nice. Yeah, it's like this warm, like sort of creamy, like solar floral type of fragrance without it going overly sunscreen, but still kind of in that realm. Wild Citrus Sunflower also kind of comes to mind, but I think that was a little bit more fruity than Gingham Glow was. It has nothing to do, at this point, I don't think they have anything to do with the original Gingham, which is very like fruity floral, but emphasis on that like sort of citrus and that like sort of there's like a sharpness to original Gingham that I don't love. This had nothing to do with the original Gingham. It's not like some twist on it. It just smelled like, you know, marigold or cane sugar, golden sunflower, like remixed. And it was in a beautiful Gingham Glow packaging. But the Fine Fragrance Mist actually had staying power. Like, I mean, I could smell it like for hours afterwards. Like even on my drive home, I would just keep smelling something beautiful on my arm, and I was just like, oh my god, this smells so good. And like, I don't normally have that experience with a lot of Bath & Body Works body care fragrances, especially their Fine Fragrance Mist, so I was kind of impressed. I really enjoyed that one. I will most certainly redeem a shower gel reward on it if it's reward eligible, and most certainly purchase a 3-wick candle because it smelled great. So Gingham Glow, I'm actually excited for that one, so check that out if you like those fragrances that I talked about. And yes, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.